Hi, I'm Kurt Thomas. You know, podcasting is very difficult. Aww. I mean, we have to press record, we have to talk, we have to figure out topics to talk about, we have to both be on at the same time. And we need some love. Just give us some love. If you're on YouTube, like us, subscribe to us, send us a comment, say how awesome we are, or how much we suck. Apple, follow us. Whatever, wherever you find our podcast, maybe just give us a like, little nudge, saying, hey, buddy, we're out here listening to you. Come on, baby, we love you. Come on, man, we like this podcast. Or you guys suck. We want to hear that too. Tonight we had a special guest lined up, and I don't want to mention any names, but just wasn't able to make it tonight, so we have a special treat for you. We're going to do a story time with Mick. I was excited about this because, yeah, it sucked that we had a guest that didn't happen tonight, but you know what? We got a good story out of it. That's all I got to say. So here we go.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us. Send us messages. Do something so we know you're there. We need some love. Yeah, baby, go.
This was not endorsed by Mick, by the way. I'm doing this on my own. So if he hates it, oh well. Whatever, dude.
What was I thinking about the other day? I was thinking about, for some reason, I heard somebody laughing.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of working on this show that I was hired to pull a safe through a set. And I went over there with a bunch of my friends who are all the people that I worked with. And these people were just horrible, and you know what it was? It was one of the National Lampoon films.
Oh, okay.
The one that nobody talks about. like there's like the one,
right. So it's kind of like the Van Wilder's cousin or something.
That's it. That's Van Wilder, the one that absolutely is on nobody's radar, right?
Right.
And they just called me saying that they wanted me to pull a safe through through the set, right? And basically, the concept was that these guys have to steal a safe out of an old lady's house, right? And, for reasons, reasons. And so they hooked the safe up to, they put a chain around it and lead the chain out of the house and then back down to a car and then start driving the car away. And they had all the exterior of that.
Right.
And I think at some point the car stops, right? Because the safe slams into the wall. I think that maybe the chain breaks or something like that. And we had to do the real funny part of that.
Right, of course.
And so we, so I like, well, sure, first of all, show me the safe. And they do. And this is like 2 weeks before we filmed this. And the safe is, they had built a safe, which here's the thing. And here's the thing. If you had built that safe, you would have thought that you would make it so that it was light enough so that you could control the whole situation and it wouldn't kill anybody.
Right. Yeah.
But they made it out of 1/4-inch plate steel.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
And I was like, huh. Well,
Why not plywood?
Ain't that a kicker? That thing weighed like 500, 600 pounds. I was like, huh. Well, that's really inconvenient.
Well, how would you normally make it? With plywood and spray painted or something?
I
Probably.
had them make it. I literally had them make it with plywood and spray paint it. Yes.
Wow.
We did it really quick. I had them put together a steel tube frame, just really thin steel tube. And I think it came out weighing still 100 pounds. I mean, there's just no, because it was
wood's
enormous,
pretty heavy.
right?
Yeah.
And the thing is you had to weigh that balance between building it stiff enough that you could actually, run it into things and stuff, but hefty enough so that you could pull it and not distort it or anything like that. So it weighed out to be about 100 pounds, and I remember the way that we did it is the way that we propelled it through the whole sequence was we did a 500-pound dead drop.
Okay.
Now, a dead drop is like we went to the stage.
Like with a pulley, right?
Yeah. Basically, what it does with a dead drop is you get an X amount of weight, and you hang it up in the air, as high as you can, and then come down with a pulley, go to the ground, and then wherever you put the pulley, all through the building, as long as you keep the cable clear, then you can use that mass to transfer the thing around, because it had to really look like it was being pulled by a car.
Yeah.
So
I just saw that on Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
They caught a ghost with that.
Well, and you know what? I sort of got the ghost kept. We had the same problem. Ghosts everywhere. I mean, it was a pain in the ass. It really was. I'm just saying. So we had all these cables down on the ground. We had these points all through there, and the set that they were using for the mansion, the hallway of the mansion, and the room that the safe was in, which was a little safe room. See what I did there?
Yes.
Anyway, so the safe has to crash through the doors, and we had cables and points all over the place. Little points would be, and what we would do is literally, we would safety it off. In other words, we'd have cables on the ground, and then we would take a short little cable and put it from the safe, and put that over to a spot off of camera where we could cut that. We would cut that short cable, and it would then be loose, and we would take and pile up a bunch of sandbags and stand right off camera and kind of settle it in so that it wouldn't take out the camera crew, right? But it was a great way to get all these shots. I mean, it really was. We got it, careening down the hallway and all the rest of this. But the first time that we did the long shot, and we had already been 3 shots in. I mean, we had done the shot where it comes past the camera as it comes out of the wall. We had done the shot where it bursts through the doors. We had done the shot where it comes skittering around the corner, which is really cool because we literally wrapped the cable once all the way around the safe, and then let it fly. And as it comes around the corner, it spins it just the cable itself just spins it, and it's careening, and it comes right straight again towards the camera at the end of that.
Oh boy.
And it was great. And all the time we're stopping it that so it doesn't hit the camera. But now we're getting to the wall that we have to hit, where it had to turn around. That was the turnaround, was that turn. And it had to slam into this wall backwards.
Oh, okay.
And that was a real drywall wall. And that wall, on the other side of that wall, happened to be the next set. And the dead drop was out there too, because we wanted the dead drop to be directly in line with the last wall,
right,
that we had to set it into. And so it's coming down just right. We get it all set up, and the thing is because of the amount of torque that we were getting on that sucker, the cables were getting curly, and every time a cable gets a little curly, and you straighten it back out, it now is a vastly weaker cable than it was before. And we were using really thin cables, aircraft cables.
Oh, okay.
That were starting with about 500 pounds of engineered strength.
I'm not sure I like where this story's going.
Well, it's actually very funny. So one of the cables was getting really curly, and nobody mentioned it to me, of the guys that were helping me operate the cables, probably because they didn't know shit. They just knew that there were cables there, right? And so there was one cable that was a bridle on the. It was a bridle on the back that stopped it from pitching forward, right? And it always had a spring on it because it wasn't. Its job was not to stop the momentum, but just to stop it from pitching forward.
Right. Okay.
And it broke on the first of the very last, where it was supposed to slam into the wall. So it broke. Now the front of this thing had this had a wheel on it, and the wheel, the typical
right, yeah,
safe wheel, right?
Yeah, gotcha. That you turn.
Now we didn't have enough time to make a new one that was light, because they're really heavy. So we just cut the old one off of the other safe. Then we mounted it on our safe. Now, when we did that, what we didn't realize was that now when the safe, all of a sudden the safe pitches forward because the cable broke that was holding it from just, going down on its face. And when it fell on its face, it fell onto that wheel. Now, of the 100 pounds that the safe was, the wheel was probably 75 of it. And when it landed on that wheel, and the wheel was perfectly polished,
yeah, of course,
polished chrome, and it just smashes down, and all of a sudden go pew. So any amount of resistance that from the 500 pounds that we had over in the corner, any amount of resistance that the sliding of the 100 pounds that we were using and stuff was gone. Now it was just how fast was 500 pounds going to drop from the ceiling to the floor, and this was a 40-foot high stage.
Oh,
gives you an idea that we had a 40-foot fall. It was going to go 40 feet as fast as it possibly could, and it got back.
Terminal velocity,
baby. It got back, and all of a sudden, pew, and it goes right through the wall that it was supposed to, right? And then you hear it smash, and then smash, and then smash again as it goes through all the walls of the set next door that had only had a little cable hole on them in them, right? Bam, bam, bam. And then it stops because it hit the ground, and there's this utter dead silence. And all of a sudden I hear this from up in the rafters. the guy that there was this guy that was this utter clown that I loved, my biker buddy Frank, was sitting up in the rafters, and he was the one that was calling safety down below. In other words, he was up in the perms 40 feet, and we had everything marked down below, but just because you mark something, I can guarantee if you mark something danger anywhere on a set somewhere, it'll attract flies and flies and actors like you wouldn't believe. Like, flies, it's like,
they're kind of the same, aren't they? Flies and actors?
Exactly the same thing. So he was up there to yell down at people, and he was to make sure that the 500 pounds got raised back up and all the rest. That was his baby. And all of a sudden we just hear this huge laugh goes, that was the funniest mother thing I've ever seen in my goddamn, like coming down from up above. It was like God was laughing at us.
He probably was.
He was laughing so hard, and I was like, oh boy, wow, isn't that helpful?
Well, what can you do, right?
Yeah, what can, and here's the funny thing is so then the director who was being a dickwad up until that point, he actually used the line that nobody had ever used on me before. He said, Steven Spielberg never has these problems. What the fuck, are you kidding?
How does he know?
Yeah, right. How exactly does he know that? So he and I were nose to nose, now, and this is probably about the fourth time we've been nose to nose on this thing. And finally I walked over to the set as they're resetting the wall now, which of course that first wall that we were actually photographing, it was going to break anyway. So it was a breakaway wall, and we had 3 takes of it. So they put the second take in, and I literally took a quarter and put it down on the ground, so that you could see the point, where it's supposed to be. And I said, yeah, the next one's going to be right. That front corner is going to be right there. And I sort of got, when we landed the next one, it was like an inch away from that quarter, and the quarter was still there. I was like, oh, well, I don't know, how fucking bad is it? But I frog marched that director out when he said, Spielberg never has these problems, and I frog marched that mother outside and said, you just did 10 flawless setups. Now the thing is they were special effects setups that normally Spielberg would do over a week, so you just did them in about 3 hours. So get off my case, asshole.
Well, he probably wouldn't do them, right? He'd have his second unit doing them, right?
Yeah. No, it would be second unit, and all those people would. Yeah, exactly. See, that's exactly the thing. It's that somehow sometimes that's the way it goes. I do remember that they didn't pay me. Even though the sequence was great and everything came out fine, they decided that they didn't want to pay me. I think it was $8,000 for my crew and the making that thing and everything. It took me forever, and I paid everybody off because I had a bunch of bikers working for me, and you don't not pay them off. And one day, all their mail started going to a 7-Eleven in Eugene, Oregon, or something. I don't know. I don't know how that happened. But.
Huh. Interesting.
Let me just say that it is a very bad idea to get vengeance on people with a change of address form. You do have to make very sure to cover your tracks if you don't want to spend some time in jail.
Oh.
So anyway, but I'm assuming that there's
I wonder how you know that.
That's yeah. Well, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You know.
Oh, the statute of limitations. So, okay,
I
see what you're
figure
saying.
at this point, yeah,
It's safe to say it.
we're talking about at least 20 on that one.
It's like when we were talking about who had come out already about her thing.
Right, exactly. And she had the thing and the thing and the thing and the thing. So yeah, right. Exactly.
I might still bleep her name just for fun.
I know you will. I know you will.
But that story, actually, it's funny because like I should have researched that more because I totally would have done it with just let it all out there because she had already been on TV talking about it. So
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, well, whatever. Yeah. You know, that was funny. That was yeah.
It might have been better with all the bleeping, actually.
That was great, especially from the point of view of being a secondhand story. Just to hear about that the next day, you know, from all these people who had put you know, to put like $25 or $30 in it at that time into that
right
situation,
right,
and to get it all snorted up like that, you know,
in 2 seconds.
Yeah, that had to be really hard.
Oh man,
have a good night, guys.
Yeah.